Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to my channel. It's Josh, and today we're going to be talking about budget watches. This question has come up so many times from so many people on my channel, and I've hesitated to do it because I know that it'll generate a lot of opinions, here on YouTube and on the internet. I love budget watches. I think that they are so fun to collect because you don't have to save up for $5,000 just to buy a watch. And I know that there are a lot of people who, genuinely cannot afford or do not want to spend, thousands of dollars on a watch. And I'll say it right here now. If you want to be one of those assholes that give watch collectors a bad name because you can't keep your negative opinions to yourself on the internet, just click out of this video right now. I do not tolerate on my channel any kind of negative, I don't tolerate you trying to make people feel like less than you because they can't afford to buy a $5,000 Rolex, or they can't afford to buy 10 Omegas or whatever. That has no place on my channel. It never has, it never will. And if you are one of those people and you do feel that you are so compelled to leave a comment even after hearing this, I will just delete it and block you because there's just no place for that. I don't tolerate that kind of behavior. I don't think it's productive, and I think you need to find something better to do with your life if you are one of those people. Anyway, so 1 minute and 30 seconds of negativity, and we are done with that. Today we are going to be talking about my favorite budget watches. Like I mentioned, I think a lot of people have asked about this, and I've hesitated to do it because I feel like everybody's style is so different, and what people think of as desirable is different. But I thought, I'm not going to talk about, each one of these in depth, but I thought I would just kind of share with you my favorite watches sort of at every price point from $100 up to $1,000, and you find something in there, that fits your budget, your preferences, and your style. Before I forget, I'm going to do a watch check here. I am wearing my Braun BN0106, I think is its name. This is such a cool watch. It's such a funky watch. I love it so much, but the kind of sad thing is I never wear it anymore because it looks like a smartwatch, and I am not a smartwatch kind of person, and everybody thinks it's a smartwatch and that it's, oh, that's such a great looking smartwatch. And I'm like, no, it's not a smartwatch. It's a piece of Braun design. So I love it. I have it. I don't wear it all that often, but maybe one of my New Year's resolutions for 2019 should be to wear this more often. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep this short, but we know that I like to talk, and we have to get through all of these watches, so this may run long, and I apologize. If you want to just skip through it, that's completely fine too. Okay, my choice for a $100 watch is absolutely, hands down, without a doubt, the Seiko 5. These are phenomenal watches. If you are familiar at all with the Seiko 5 line, they are budget-minded watches that really, really seriously pack a punch. This one, I don't have a model name. I didn't really prepare for this video. I'll put it in the little banner, down here, as to what it is. But this is one of my favorite watches, hands down. This one, I don't know if you can see it here because it's a really, really dark blue. It's got and all of these watches are automatic. So that's another these are all very high quality, quality at different price points, but very high quality watches. All with automatic movements, all of which I think can last you a lifetime. Even once you start collecting like the Breitlings and the Omegas and stuff, I think you can keep these in your collection and still love them, 20 years from now. So anyway, Seiko 5. Love these watches. There's not much to say that hasn't already been said about these. You can get these for about $100, usually less. I think I paid $85 or so on Amazon for this guy. This is a beautiful watch. I'm trying to get it in the right light. It's got a lacquered face, which if you've watched my videos, you know that I love. The details on this watch, even like the date window, the way that the date window is has the silver bezel on it, everything, all the markers are raised. The Seiko mark and the Seiko 5 mark is raised. And this guy has a huge exhibition case. You can see that there. This is a basic Seiko movement. I think the whole watch maybe was made in Malaysia. But really, really just beautiful. This comes on Seiko 5s. Okay, the downside to Seiko 5s is that they come on the cheapest bracelets. I think it's fine because, again, I'd rather they spend all the money trying to get this right and, screw the bracelet. Because you can put, so what I have on here, this is kind of a ridiculous one, but I spent like $200 on a good Michelle bracelet, so I spent twice the cost of the watch on a good alligator bracelet. But I think for this watch, you see that? Oh, there's the blue. For this watch, it was so worth it because when I wear this out, it doesn't matter if I'm around, watch aficionados or watch company. Whenever I wear this guy out, I always get, oh my gosh, what is that? How much was it? People think it's like $500. Like, no, the face was $80, the band was $200. So, highly recommend Seiko 5. That is my pick for the $100 watch. And I'm trying to go quickly, and I really do apologize here. Okay, next up is the $200 watch, or like $100 to $200. And here it's sort of a toss-up between, again, staying with Seiko, and Orient. Orient, as you may or may not know, is sort of a subsidiary of the Seiko group, but it's not like they're completely separate companies or completely separate histories. So buying an Orient is not like buying a cheap Seiko, because some of their watches, their watches are about dollar for dollar for Seikos anyway. This is one of the Seiko Recraft watches. I love the gold and the gold and green combination here. That kind of emerald dial there, I think, is really, really gorgeous. I think the design of the Recraft series watches, for the most part, are quite nice. I paid about $180 something. This retails for like $300 some odd dollars, but you can always find them for cheaper on Amazon. Like ships and sold by Amazon, and Amazon is an authorized retailer for Seiko as well. So I'm gonna say about $185, $200. Thought this was great. I think all Seikos are. Now let's talk about Orient. So Orient has everything from like a $50 automatic watch to a like a $400 automatic watch. This one is the Seiko, the Orient Monarch, and I love it. I love this watch so much. It's sort of a vintage like rail. What is it, like a rail conductor watch type thing? What drew me to this watch obviously was the typeface, and also the fact that this watch is hand wound only. So this one does not have, a moving rotor. It's not your typical automatic watch. It is very much a hand wound manual watch. Gorgeous face. I mean, that's just beautiful. And then I put on here, this is a Fossil strap that I found on sale for like $8 on their website. Really great quality leather strap, and I thought that the kind of aged, weathered leather design of this strap really, really went well with that face. Great design. This case is so high quality. If you read the reviews of like any Orient watch, there's nothing really bad to say about it, because the way that the level of finesse and the level of polish that Orient puts on their watches is crazy, like second to none. For the price that they charge, for like $85 or whatever, the Bambino series tend to be like $80 to $150. It's a steal. I mean, if that's your price point, or you're looking for a cheap watch, a cheap good quality watch, Orient is absolutely the way to go. Okay, now we're moving up in price quite a bit, and now we're talking about the I'm going to say $250 to $500 mark. And here, you really can't beat the Seiko Diver. We have a couple, and I say we because these are not my cup of tea, so to speak, but my partner John absolutely loves them. So, when I want to buy him a present, I will tend to go for like a Seiko Diver. They also, and the reason that they're not my cup of tea is because they tend to be quite large. This is one of the newer ones. So these are all, relatively new. This is the style of these. This is the Samurai reissue. And then this kind of pillowcase, pillow-shaped case is kind of known in the Seiko community as being the turtle. So he's got two. We have the Patty, which is this beautiful kind of Pepsi Cola style colorway. And then we have the gold turtle. These are both just gorgeous watches. Seiko does something at like crazy. Seiko, at their price point, I think makes absolutely the best sunray dials in the industry, in the business, because these watches are, I think they retail for around $550, but you can, pretty consistently find these on sale at Macy's for like $350. I have never paid $500 for one of these, but the sunray finish on these dials is stellar. I mean, you can kind of see that there's no really AR coating on there. That's just why my light is kind of bouncing off of this guy here. But the sunray finish on the dials of these are just magnificent. These, I think actually all three of these use the 4R15 movement, which is towards the bottom of the Seiko, hierarchy in terms of their automatic movements, but by no means is it a cheap movement. You will definitely get a lifetime of wear and of service out of the movements in here. And you can have them regulated. I've heard of a lot of people, regulating the 4R15 to near COSC standard of timekeeping. You just, you have to take it to a jeweler that knows what they're doing, but you can get them quite close. So Seiko divers, these are really, really phenomenal watches, and I think they're a steal for what you get. The downside, obviously, is that you're not getting a sapphire crystal. I don't think any of these really have exhibition case backs, but the 4R50 movement is not necessarily the best looking movement, but it's definitely serviceable. The other thing to note about the turtles, if you happen to get one, and maybe more generally kind of all the Seiko divers, is that you have to find one that's well aligned. So this one is, but sometimes, when you turn the dial here and you look at where that point lines up in relation to the minute markers on the dial, sometimes you find that they're really misaligned, and you can tell, you might not be able to see it on camera, but you'll know what I mean if you happen to come across one, in the world that is misaligned. You'll be able to kind of immediately see that, and but not all of them are. So, if you have the chance, and if you're buying in person, definitely take a look at a couple of different ones, at whatever retailer you're looking at, and just make sure that the one that you're looking at is properly aligned. So yeah, that's about the 300 mark, and great watches. Okay, now we're moving up to the $500 mark. And at $500 is when I think you can really get into a great Swiss watch. And here we're looking at the Tissot Heritage Visodate. This is one of my favorite watches, I have to be honest. It is just so classic. It is so timeless. It kind of goes with everything. It's a very subtle design. It's sort of vintage inspired, but comes with all the modern niceties of a watch. So sapphire crystal. This one's got a great 2892 movement. Really beautiful exhibition case back. And Tissot does a really good job of giving you really high quality design and materials at a very reasonable price. Now I think these retail for $695, but again, Tissot is one of the brands, along with Seiko, that you can routinely find at Macy's on their 20% off one day sales or whatever. You can routinely find these for a good 20% off MSRP. And I bought this one at Bloomingdale's, which of course is, Macy's sister company. And this one was, I think I paid all in $450 or $495. And that is a steal for this watch from an authorized dealer. What I love about Tissot sort of in general, so let's just start talking about this guy as well. I did a whole kind of review on this. This is the 2018 redesign of the Seastar 1000 Powermatic. I think that you're getting just a really great quality watch. I'm probably going to offend some people here. But so these are obviously two divers. This one retails at $700, but I paid $550 for it. This one retails at about $500, and I paid $350 for it. And I think for these are both really solid divers. This one is certified by by Patty, but I think at $500 is where you really start to get into a different class of watch. And what I mean by that is that this guy it's a great watch, but it's got the Hardlex crystal, so not sapphire, and it's only rated to 200 meters of water resistance. The Tissot, on the other hand, is rated to 300 meters of water resistance and comes with sapphire crystal on the front, sapphire crystal on the back, on the exhibition case back, ceramic bezel. Again, I'm sure most of the watch people who are watching this video came from the original review of this, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But I think at any, in any style, $500 is sort of where you really start getting into great Tissot watches. So I've got the Seastar, and then I've got the Heritage Visodate. Really, really phenomenal watches, great movements. ETA, is in-house with the Swatch Group, so Tissot can access, Tissot has access to a lot of their great movements. So this one especially, I think, this is a bone stock movement. You can get it serviced by anybody. You can find tons of parts for it. So having, even though this is only $500, this is going to be a watch that you can have serviced for the rest of your life. Use it for the rest of your, life, and then pass it on to your kids, and they can use it for the rest of their lives. And chances are it'll still be ticking the day that they die. So really love Tissots, and I think that you can't really go wrong at the $500 price point with a Tissot. And the only reason I say, the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people, $500 is also when you start to get into Movado territory, and you start getting into Shinola territory, and those are great watches, don't get me wrong, but they are definitely more fashion watches than, serious automatic watches. But I don't think that they'll last as long as, something like a Tissot. I don't think that they'll be serviceable as, as much as a Tissot with a stock, ETA movement. They're just quartz fashion watches, and they're great. If you love them, and that's what you spend your money on. But for me, a Tissot is absolutely the best buy at $500. Okay, now moving up to let's say $500 to $700. I don't think that you can go wrong with a Victorinox. So I've got two that I absolutely love. This guy is a Tissot. Oh my gosh, see, that's how much I love Tissot. I can't even stop talking about them. This guy is a Victorinox Maverick GS automatic mechanical. Victorinox sort of, not necessarily misleadingly, but they call all of their automatics mechanicals. So this is the Alliance mechanical, and this is the Maverick GS or Maverick mechanical. What I love about Victorinox is the quality, the finish, the fit and finish. It's sort of, and it's hard to quantify on camera because you can't feel this. You're not holding this in your hand, but trust me when I say that this one in particular, so this is the Maverick mechanical. This is not a diver watch, and I think that's one of the things that I don't like about it, but I think is a missed opportunity. They could have given this easily 300 meters of water resistance and had a stellar diver on their hands, but they didn't. The Maverick Victorinox watches in general, the fit and finish of these is above and beyond. I mean, we're talking Tag Heuer quality here. The way that the bracelets drape, the heft of the case, the heft of the bracelet, the attention to detail in all of the components. If you have ever picked up, if you've ever picked up an Omega or something, you know what I mean when you say, or even a Tag for that matter, that you can just tell looking at the seams, the way that the metal is machined. You can tell that it's a cut above, something like a Seiko, or even, I hate to say it, but even a Tissot like this. There's just, you can feel the difference in the quality and in the materials. And I honestly think that Victorinox can rival Omega and Tag Heuer. And, call me out if you will, but, I own both an Omega and a Tag Heuer, and I have to say, I am just constantly impressed. Whenever I handle a Victorinox watch, I'm constantly impressed at how hefty these feel. Like, they feel hefty, they feel expensive, they feel like they should be, they feel like they should cost twice what they do. The Maverick Mechanical is, I think it retails at like $8.95, but again, because we're not in like prestige watch territory yet, you can also find Victorinox. I bought this one at Macy's, on something like 20% off sale. So I paid about $700, maybe, let's say, for this watch, and I think that was a stellar deal. Very, very, just kind of stock ETA movement in here. Really, really nicely, though. The rotor is decorated with the Victorinox kind of seal there. Same note as the Tissot, sapphire crystal, sapphire caseback, and I can't emphasize enough how good these feel in the hand and how good they feel in the wrist. If you don't like heavy watches, though, that Victorinox is probably not for you, but if you like the heft of a really high quality watch, this is absolutely the way to go. Even just things like, the protectors on the crown here. The machining on this metal is so sharp and so precise that it really does feel like a product that, should cost twice as much as these do. I think it's the AR coating that's doing something between the light and the camera lens, because I'm sure you can see it, these colors are completely different shades of blue on camera. That's not the case in real life, and I don't know what it is, but this dial is a really beautiful turquoise blue, and the dial in real life appears the same color as the bezel on the watch. So, really weird anomaly. I don't know what it is, but I love the watch nonetheless. And I've spent way too much time talking about it. The other one I have here is the Victorinox Alliance Mechanical. This is another phenomenal watch. I love this thing. This is sort of my go-to active watch if I'm going running or something. If I'm doing something that doesn't require like a G-Shock, then this is the guy I take. I've got it on, we all know that I love Blue Shark NATO straps. I've got mine on a red and black Bond strap here, and I think it looks really great with the, the red second hand and the red automatic mark here, and the black face. Same note as with the mechanical. This guy's got a really beautiful exhibition case back, standard ETA movement, which again, kind of guarantees serviceability of this watch. Decorated rotor. No, okay. Gorgeous watch. I just think that this reminds me of early Speedmasters from Omega. And again, I think if I'm going running or something, or if I'm doing some kind of active activity, I love just being able to carry this and not worrying if it gets, damaged or anything, if there's any kind of crazy shock to it, if it gets, slammed up against the wall. I just think that with, Victorinox quality, you're getting a really solid piece that will, again, last you for a lifetime if you service it properly. So that is my Victorinox, the two Victorinox watches I have. And then we move finally to $800 to $1,000, and here's where things are going to get kind of interesting. I also did a video on, actually I've done videos on both of these guys now. This is my Tissot Heritage. Okay, let's try this again. This is my Tissot Heritage 1948 automatic chronograph. I just did a video on this, so if you want to see that, I'll link it down in the description below, or it's probably in the related videos to the right. This is a great piece. I think it, again, I don't think you can go wrong with Tissot at any price point, but specifically, I think this is a steal it retails at $1,400, but the reason I'm putting it in this video is because I've recently seen it on the on the gray market, but also like at authorized dealers, for just around $1,000, and I think for $1,000, this is a real steal. I do have to disclose that this is not the original bracelet. This is a $225 genuine alligator strap by Shinola. But I think it comes on a regular leather strap, or you can get it on a Milanese loop for $1,400. And I just changed the strap because it matched my style aesthetic. I thought it matched a tan strap better than, a brown strap or a black leather strap like it comes on. But regardless of what you put it on, this is a great, great piece. Again, just great movement, great design. I love the touches that they put on this one specifically. I know a lot of people don't like the semi-open case back here. I don't know. To me, though, I like it. I like it a lot. I like how everything is sort of decorated. It says heritage. It's got, the classic Tissot mark. It's got some kind of, just detailing around the case that makes it look a little bit more special. And definitely, this watch looks more expensive than $1,000. But the most interesting one, and the one that I want to talk a little bit more about, is the Seiko. Well, any kind of the Seiko Presage, but also any JDM Seiko. These are a little bit more, it'll require a little bit more thought on your part, because in order to get one of these, you're going to have to go, gray market, meaning you're going to have to go with a reseller that'll import this to the United States. If you do, I highly, highly, highly recommend Seiya Japan or Long Island Watch. I trust both of them implicitly. I got this particular one from Seiya Japan. Seiko makes some great watches. Like I said, Seiko makes great watches that they bring to the US and price around, $100 to $500. But if you are willing to go, with a US importer of Japanese watches, Seiko makes killer watches around, $1,000, $700 to $1,000. This one is the Seiko SARX 035. And I paid $800 all said and done, which is just below the threshold, by the way, for import duties. Anything under $800 can be imported to the US. Anything over that is subject to duty charges. So just keep that in mind if you're buying, factor that into your budget. Seiko makes a lot of great watches around that price point. One of the most popular ones is actually the SARX 057, I think. I'll put a picture in. It's called the Snowflake. Full titanium case, sapphire crystal, 6R15 movement, everything like that. This guy also has a sapphire crystal with dual AR coating. Beautiful exhibition case back on here. The downside with Seikos, though, I don't know why, is that the exhibition case backs on a lot of the Presage models, especially the JDM ones, the back is a Hardlex crystal and not a sapphire crystal. Doesn't bother me because, again, this is against, the back is against your wrist the whole time as you're wearing it, so really not a big deal, I don't think. What sets Seiko apart, though, at this price point, like the Presage line, is the level of fit and finish on these watches. These also feature, so a lot of the Seikos at or around $700 to $1,000, $700 to $1,000, feature DiaShield coating. And what DiaShield is just kind of like a molecular coating, I think, that they apply to the stainless steel bracelets and case, that's supposed to kind of prevent scratching or to resist scratching a little bit more. And I was skeptical about it when I first bought this watch, but actually just looking at it, because I've worn this quite a bit since I got it back in August of 2018, and I don't see any scratches at all, which is weird because this is also from August, around that time, like summer 2018, and you can see that I've definitely got scuffing on the hairline scratches and scuffing on the bracelet, on the clasp, and around the case. But the Seiko I've probably worn just as much, and I don't see any. I think it's more smudging than anything on this bracelet. And the other cool thing about getting a JDM Seiko is that it's a JDM Seiko, and it carries, I don't know, to me that just carries a little bit more cachet. Yeah, it's not Swiss made, it's not, it's not an ATA movement or anything like that. But you guys, Seiko's like the same. I feel the same way about Seiko, these, like a JDM Seiko, as I do about the Victorinox, in that the fit and finish of these watches, oh my gosh, it's falling apart there, whatever, is just above and beyond anything that you'll find at the $700 to $1,000 price point, which is again why I really, really wanted this watch. Just beautiful finishing. It's sort of like if you put, you know, a Lexus up against a Mercedes or something like that, like an entry-level Lexus versus an entry-level Mercedes. And I'm probably going to offend more people here, but I feel like the Lexus has a higher level of fit, finish, and kind of attention to detail than some of the cheaper Mercedes I've seen. And that's not to say that they're not both great cars, but you know, there's something about that Japanese attention to detail, the Japanese kind of perfection, that perfectionist kind of attitude, that when you look at this watch, there's so much intricate detail. There's so the level of just everything, the level of fit and finish is just above and beyond on this watch. And again, we're comfortably under $1,000 here. So that's about it, guys. I apologize. I knew this was going to go long, and it did. If you've got any questions, I always say please leave them in the comments below. And that's about it. I will see you guys next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holiday season. Happy Black Friday shopping. A lot of deals to be had on watches, by the way, around Black Friday. I will be perusing the Macy's website for sure as we get closer to Black Friday. Because I have my eye on another Seiko diver that I may be picking up. So I will let you know if I do. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you soon. Take care.